All right, thanks for tuning into this YouTube. 49ers come out of week 13 with a 26-8 victory over the Cleveland Browns. And I'm coming to you from the NBC Sports Bay Area studio where I've wrapped up 49ers post-game show. And certainly a lot to talk about coming out of this game. I would say probably the big storyline, couple maybe secondary storylines, but the big storyline was, Brock Purdy. How would he bounce back in inclement weather against a really good defense, coming off of the 3 interception game, all in the first half of that game against the Carolina Panthers? And just as an aside, as a parenthetical, the Carolina Panthers, that horrible team the 49ers faced on Monday night, turns out maybe they're not so bad after all. They go over the 500 mark with a victory over the LA Rams, who earlier today, when the day started, they were seen as the best team in the NFC and probably the best team in all of football. I don't know how that game impacts their public persona, how the nation views them. I mean, they're still a very good team, but I think what the 49ers have done the last 3 weeks, granted, not beating really great teams, it just showed that they're very much in the playoff mix at 9-4. Now, I think it'd be a major disappointment if 49ers didn't make the playoffs at this point. But 9-4 heading into the bye week. They have the Tennessee Titans coming up out of the bye week. They have put themselves in position to not only be a playoff team, but I think when you look at just the up and down nature of the NFC, it's almost like who else? What teams are really stepping up? Which teams are capable of making a big push in the NFC? And I'd say just basically every team. You look at the top 9 teams, and heck, throw in the Carolina Panthers, but you look at the top 9 teams, they've all shown the ability to beat really good teams, and they've probably all shown the ability to lose to average teams. But for Brock Purdy, this was big, and it wasn't a huge statistical game. It wasn't something that's like just going to absolutely wow you. But to me, the biggest thing about this game was just to avoid the big mistakes, the mistakes that he made in the first half against Carolina that opened the door for them to score some points and potentially come to Levi Stadium and pull off the upset. But for Purdy, 16 of 29, 168 yards, 1 touchdown pass that went to Juwan Jennings. But, the thing that was probably best about that day was it did show the ability, a couple things. He showed the mobility. He escaped some sack opportunities with his legs. But he also wanted to live to fight another down. And on a day like this where the precipitation wasn't a big factor, but the wind was, the fact that he was able to throw the ball away and throw the ball away 6 times in this game showed just that he didn't want to make the mistakes. He knew that he had to play error-free football or darn close to it. And on this day, I think really where the 49ers won this game in a lot of ways was, even though the running game wasn't all that great, Christian McCaffrey only averaged 2.7 yards a carry, the 49ers put themselves in position on third downs. But maybe more importantly, they did pick up a lot of third downs, and they were on 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10. 49ers converted 11 of 17 on third downs. That's 64.7%. Meanwhile, the Browns weren't very good on third downs, 3 of 11, and they were even worse on fourth downs, 0 of 4. So special teams had a really good day. Sky Moore returning a punt early in the game, 66 yards. That sets up the 49ers' first touchdown of the game, and McCaffrey's touchdown. Really good blocking from Jake Brendel. Really good blocking from Spencer Burford, and we're probably going to see more of Burford. 49ers do go into the bye week, so it gives these guys an opportunity to get well. But Ben Barch at left guard just can't stay healthy, and 49ers had found this sweet spot here of using those left guards in tandem, getting about 50% of the snaps for Burford, who started, and then Barch would come in. And now with Ben Barch having this foot injury, we'll see what his status is as the days go on. But the offensive line played well. Purdy avoided mistakes. 49ers did a good job game planning for Myles Garrett. And then Trent Williams, by and large, did a good job. Colt McKivitz and the few snaps he had against Myles Garrett did a good job. And Myles Garrett line still had 1 sack in this game, but that sack came later in the contest when the 49ers pretty much already had it wrapped up. And if you had told me on this day that Cleveland Ferrell would be the most productive defensive lineman for either team, that would have surprised me. Cleveland Ferrell is a guy that, along with Keon White, I mean, those two might be the 49ers' 2 best defensive linemen right now. And these guys were mid-season acquisitions for Ferrell. He was on the street as a free agent, and the 49ers picked him up to the practice squad, elevated him for a couple of games, and put him on the 53-man. Then, kind of surprisingly, they deactivated him for a couple of games. And then now he's back up there, and he was really needed with Sam Okawanu out for this game. Ferrell comes through. 9 tackles, which is a heck of a lot for a defensive lineman, and the 2 sacks. Now he has 4 sacks on the season, the same number, 4 sacks in 5 games, the same number as Bryce Huff has that leads the team. So Ferrell with a big day. Keon White, who is a trade deadline acquisition a week before the trade deadline. The 49ers get him in that deal from the New England Patriots. I think he's added a lot. He came through with a sack. On this day, the 49ers only had 252 yards of total offense. The Cleveland Browns had 253 yards of total offense, but the difference was the 49ers did not turn the ball over. They kept the drives alive, and when they got into the red zone, they scored. And like I said about Sky Moore, big props go to him. 49ers special teams, so much better than it was a year ago. So a big tip of the cap to Brant Boyer and that discipline of the team. And it's all areas of special teams have done well. It's, the field goal unit, after getting rid of Jake Moody, Eddie Pinheiro stepped in. He was perfect. And now Matt Gay, although, had to use that left upright to ricochet that thing in, but he's been good in the couple games he's played. It's the kick return unit. It's the punt return unit. It's the coverage unit. So all areas of special teams really contributing to the 49ers victory here victories as of late, and again on this day. So 49ers get out to a 7-0 lead in this game. They had a big play on a 4th down when the Browns were really running the ball effectively. It was Malik Mustafa stepping in against Quinshon Judkins, and then Jordan Elliott finishing off that 4th down play. Later, the Browns had another 4th down opportunity, and the game was still in the balance at that point. And then they did something where they take Shedeur Sanders off the field. By the way, Sanders played pretty well, about as well as you could expect a rookie quarterback under those conditions to play. But on a 4th and 1 situation, they take Sanders off. They put a rookie, Harold Fannin Jr., who's a tight end. They put him as the Wildcat quarterback, I guess. Not really a Wildcat. He was behind center, fumbled the snap. Luke Gifford was there to pick it up. So those are a couple of big plays that the 49ers defense made. On offense, I kind of look at the turning point being right before the end of the first half. The 49ers had just given up a touchdown pass. Fannin scored that on a 34-yard pass from Sanders. So the 49ers had a penalty on the extra point, moves the ball to the 1-yard line, and the Browns go ahead and score the 2-point conversion. So they had a 39-second lead on the 49ers. They had an 8-7 lead with 39 seconds left before halftime. And the 49ers offense at that point had kind of staggered around. It kind of it was very difficult sledding against the Cleveland Browns, both from a running standpoint and also a passing standpoint. And it was a 3rd and 10 that the 49ers faced with about 25 seconds left. And Purdy hit Ricky Pearsall, who had another quiet day, but this was a huge play, 13-yard gain to pick up a 1st down. He got out of bounds. And then it was a 12-yard pass to Juwan Jennings, and then a really nice 33-yard pass going into the wind. Purdy to George Kittle. That puts the 49ers right there in striking range. I wasn't sure if Kittle caught it because I saw that ball pop out after he hit the ground, but it's pretty clear that he had control of it, went to the ground, was down by contact, and then the ball was stripped out sometime later. And so that set up the field goal. Matt Gay, they gave the 49ers a 10-8 lead heading into halftime. And that, to me, was where the 49ers took that. I mentioned the Fannin Wildcat, or the play where he's under center and fumbles. That still happened when the 49ers had a 10-8 lead. And 49ers were able to capitalize on that. And then really an interesting play as the 49ers converted some third downs. They on a third and 2, Christian McCaffrey, a 4-yard gain. On a 3rd and 8, Purdy hits Kittle for 14 yards to the 4-yard line. And then a third down play where I think Kyle Shanahan really took advantage of what he figured the Browns would be doing, which would be that on a run play, they would be so devoted to selling out to stop Christian McCaffrey. And so you saw this play where it was an inside handoff. It appeared to be an inside handoff to Christian McCaffrey, and Myles Garrett, the defensive end, crashes down to take on McCaffrey. Not only that, but Mahmoud Diabate, the linebacker on that side, who lined up outside of Garrett, he crashes down, crosses the face of Brock Purdy, who still had the football, and Brock Purdy takes it in for a 2-yard touchdown run, does the Dougie. Everybody goes crazy. 49ers up 17-9, not really challenged from that point forward. And then the Browns had these really bad plays. The kickoff return where the guy caught it at the sideline and ran out of bounds at the 5-yard line. Then there was a muffed punt that led to the Purdy to Jennings touchdown pass. They gave them a 23-8 lead. So all in all, 49ers with a very thorough victory on this day. And it was a day in which, Christian McCaffrey didn't have a whole lot of yards, but it was just, I think the 49ers run game was good enough to stay out of those 3rd and longs. As far as the injuries go, I mentioned Barch with the foot injury. Kyle Juszczyk left with ribs injuries, and then Nick Martin, who has been very good on special teams, left with a concussion. So 49ers, get their first victory in Cleveland since 1984. It sounds like, oh my gosh, that's such a long time. And yes, it is a very long time, but it only consists of 4 victories from the Browns during that period of time. They went, a 14-year period without playing in Cleveland from 1993 to 2007. That's when the original Browns moved to Baltimore, I guess, in that time, became the Ravens, and then the expansion Browns came in. And so even since the expansion Browns, the 49ers were 0-3 there, including that loss last season in Cleveland. So, here the 49ers are. Is it crazy to think that they could possibly win the NFC West? Maybe. I don't think the Rams schedule is too daunting from this point forward. The Rams have that loss today to the Panthers, but the rest of their schedule, twice against the Arizona Cardinals, once at Atlanta. So those games should be pretty easy. But then they also play Detroit. That's one of those matchups from a year ago where it's the first place teams in the divisions. And so they play them, and then they also have to go to Seattle. That's weeks 15 and 16 versus Detroit at Seattle. And so the Rams fall to 9-3. They drop down one spot with the Chicago Bears taking over the top spot in the NFC. And it really is interesting. You look at this, I still don't think that the Chicago Bears are out of the woods as far as a playoff spot. I mean, it's looking good for them, but they do have a difficult schedule from this point forward. including a week 17 game against the 49ers. But the Bears play at Green Bay coming up. Then they play against the Browns. They should win that one. Then they have the Packers again. Then they have the 49ers. Then they have the Detroit Lions. So when you look at the Chicago Bears remainder of the season, 5 games left, and 2 of them against the Packers, 1 against the Lions, 1 against the 49ers. So, man, it's wide open. I just want to look at the Seattle Seahawks schedule. They're winning as I do this quite decisively against the Minnesota Vikings, but Seattle, a team the 49ers could definitely take, jump over in the NFC pecking order. So next week, Atlanta, the week after that, Indianapolis, then it's the Rams, the Panthers, the 49ers. So their schedule is kind of difficult too, heading in to the main stretch. 49ers come out of the bye week. They play Tennessee. So after that, I think 3 games against teams with very good records: Indianapolis, Chicago, and Seattle. But the takeaways from this game: Brock Purdy did what he had to do to win. Wasn't spectacular, but made all the right plays, didn't make any mistakes. Defense did what it had to do to win. Special teams did what it had to do to win. And I thought a very strong coaching performance, strong game plans, both from Kyle Shanahan and then Robert Saleh in particular against the Cleveland Browns offense. But I think the main point with Shanahan in scripting the game plan and putting together a game plan against the Cleveland Browns was just how they managed to, for the most part, take Myles Garrett out of the game and just make sure that he wasn't a big factor in this game, and he wasn't just the one-man wrecking ball that he has been for most of this season. Still had a sack in this game, leads the NFL with 19 sacks on the season, but the 49ers countered with some good play from their defense in the passing game as well, with Ferrell having the 2 sacks that I mentioned and Keon White having the 1 sack. So that's a quick rundown. 49ers 26-8 victors over the Cleveland Browns, and hope you all enjoy your bye week. I'm going to try to get away a little bit, but I'll continue to post updates here on this YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching this video, and that is it for now.